going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So we're going to keep working on my kitchen here in my investment property. This is the first unit. I still have 2 more to go after this. But it's been a battle, man, even to get to this point. Like, it's been tough. You know, it's tough to live alone these days. It's especially if you don't have a significant other or a wife, a second income coming in. To live solo these days, you have to get inventive, especially on a working class wage. You know what I mean? For us working class people, it is you know, we're not CEOs and we're not making buku bucks. You know what I mean? So we have to be smart, play our cards right, and take risks, which I definitely feel like I took a lot of risks to get into this place, a lot. And yeah, the plan is to finish this unit, which was a meth house for 15 years, make it beautiful, right? And I'll be able to get top dollar for it and get a lot more than I would have been able to normally. The bank said this apartment in its current condition, like before I even moved in here and ripped out all the rugs and everything was covered in tobacco smoke, and it was disgusting. It smelled like hell up here. It smelled like someone died up here, right? The banks told me that this apartment was worth $1,100 a month in that condition, just because of the space. And I'm like, yikes. So if this is nice, what do you think I could get for it then, you know? Duke, you are funny, man. Yeah, so this stuff, it's like cardboard. So that stuff's not gonna take a beating, and if it gets wet, good luck. Yeah, that's all cardboard. This stuff's pretty cool. This life proof. So this is a cement-based product. It's a cement core, and it's got this nice rubber mat at the bottom. It can get wet. It can take high heels. You can drop a hammer on it. Pet claws don't do anything to it. Yeah. Let's see if we can find something on sale in like a gray color. I think they keep the sale stuff over there. Yeah, because everything's over $3 a square foot. I'm gonna try to get under that. $239. Oh, what is this? Doesn't feel like the same. So I paused for a second at Home Depot because I've never seen this kind. I didn't realize, you know, I'm not a floor guy. I do install this stuff at work all the time, but I just see whatever my boss gets, I install it, and that's it. So we usually use a cement core. Life proof, it's a cement core. That's what I was expecting. This is different. This is a composite core, but it still had the same exact waterproof, not water resistant, had the same warranty, had the same 22 mil wear layer, had everything was the same except for the core. The core was slightly different, and it was less expensive. But that's, I mean, if you look at the MDF ones, for $1.50 to $1.90 a square foot, it is 100% worth going a little bit more expensive and getting composite or a cement core, something like this. I mean, I know some of those MDF ones look nice, but they do not stand up. All right, well, Monday after work. Duke said he's gonna move that stuff for me real quick. I'm thinking maybe we'll slide everything over onto this side of the kitchen. Set the skill saw for like a little over 1/4 of an inch and just cut right down the middle, cutting the plywood and this laminate crap, and then start working on prying this half of the room up, cutting it into bits and bagging it. There we go. Just a little Kimbo slice right down the middle. Took out that transition. I don't know, see if we can cut and maybe roll this whole piece up. Well, this laminate has been on this 1/4 inch plywood for so long that they became one with each other. There's no getting it off. And then under that, we have another floor that's literally just laid down on top of, roofing paper. Yikes. I don't know, what's your vote? What floor is more hideous? That's a tough one. I don't know, it's a really tough decision. Leave it in the comments. Dude, this is crazy. I've never seen anything like this before. It's literally a floating laminate floor, kind of. Except it's not, it's just cardboard. They stapled it around the edges and then nothing in the middle. And then they put this row of nails up the middle, up this seam. That's hideous, dude. I mean, it just goes to show you how poor my neighborhood used to be. Yeah, look at that. Told you I was putting in a gray floor. Looks old, looks original. Yeah, looks nice. No, I'm just kidding. I went over this whole thing with the vacuum, hands and knees, just scanning everywhere for any staples, nails. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't want Duke to get hurt while I'm not home. All right, trash is gone. And Duke's not gonna like this next part because it's about to get really, really noisy. But next step, I cut off a piece of scrap. You just cut off a piece of the floor. And I'll cut this again in half, like that. And then these two pieces will be used as smash blocks to click the floor together. So this is gonna get destroyed no matter what. And I noticed this composite core cut really easy. Like, I don't need a hardy blade to cut this stuff. I can cut it with just a regular, regular blade, which is nice. But I'm gonna start by taking this piece around the whole room, and just anywhere, like obviously here, I have nothing to worry about because I'm putting baseboard here that's gonna come out and cover some of that. So we'll just end with a small gap like that, so that the floor has a little bit of room to expand and move. Right, so we'll leave a tiny gap, 1/4 inch. Baseboard will go right on top. Nice clean transition, right? But we have to go all the way around the room, and it's easier to do this now than wait until you start laying floor and then do it. I like to have all this stuff done first. So I'm gonna set this down. I'm gonna take my multi-tool blade, because the undercut saw that I have is it's lost right now, so we're just gonna do the multi-tool. But just set the multi-tool, because this is the more common tool that everyone has, and you can totally do it with this. Just kind of plunge this in by 1/2 inch. I have a metal blade somewhere that'll cut nails if I run into a nail. Otherwise I have this wood blade, but I just want to plunge in about 1/2 inch. Use this as a guide, chip it out with a screwdriver. That way the floor can run under by a little bit. That way we don't have to worry about the floor lifting or a bunch of crud getting stuck in there. And I don't want to do a caulking joint either, especially in a high traffic area, because stuff will stick to that caulking. I'd rather just have this go under that by a little bit, and that's it, done. All right, and there we go. It slips right under there. That's what we're after. So these thresholds, you gotta get under there with a 1/4-inch chisel and dig it out. But on these, you like, as soon as you cut through, that little piece at the bottom just comes loose, and you can usually just knock it out. But because that goes all the way through, you have to chisel it out. And this is a little trick that I invented, which is you take a belt sander like this and you squish it a little bit. I think this is 50 grit belt sander, and you just squish it down a little bit. So now, have you ever run a piece of sandpaper? Like if I ran the sandpaper like this, side to side, sometimes a splinter will get caught on the sandpaper edge and it will splinter out. So if you round the edges over and run the sandpaper back and forth like this, now it's just a rounded edge, so there's not really it's not as easy to catch a splinter and then tear it out. So I just stick it under there at like a 45-degree angle like that and work it back and forth, straightening and getting all the splinters off, giving it a nice clean edge. That way, you know, once the floor is under there, yeah, if somebody was to run a mop or a broom or something, you don't want the broom to catch the splinters and rip it off, or a mop to get stuck on here and rip something off. So everything's got to be smooth. Yeah, I painted this trim out here. I really didn't want to scrape it. It felt like it was good, but it's not. So we might end up having to scrape the trim, just the trim, not the doors. The doors are good, but the door's brand new. But yeah, just the door trim. That one's already been scraped over there. That one's been scraped and that one's been scraped, but this one has not been scraped. Dude, I pulled one board, dude, and all I can smell is the curry chicken. Like, dude, what the freak, man? I think their vent is like vented into the wall or something, because there's a pungent aroma emanating from this hole. So yeah, but the one great thing about this place, I know there's a lot wrong with it, it has good bones, man. Look at this subfloor, dude. Look at this. It's tongue and groove. Oh yes, it is. It is tongue and groove, and it's 1.1 inches thick. New houses only have 3/4 inch thick. This is 1 1/8 inch subfloor. That is beefy. So I'm thinking, here's the thermostat wire. I'm thinking maybe we can pop one panel here. The floor joists are going this way, and maybe we can pop one at the end and use my snake and just pull the cable instead of having to like cut a whole row out. I'd prefer to do that than disturb all of this nice tongue and groove, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, look at that. And we have actual 2x lumber in this place as well. 2 inches wide, 2 inches thick. Minus the beams, the giant beams that are running through here. Just beefy. Alright, so now I'm going to break out the snake and just work on getting from hole to hole and then hole to hole, and hopefully we can do this without taking up a lot of this. Alright, so we got that pulled all the way down and up through a little hole right next to the gas pipe, so that this can be, it's basically going to get taped right onto the gas pipe on this back side, so it's not, you know, because there's going to be a heater here. Could get hit from this side, but I went from this side. No one's ever going to be able to get to that And this will hook up to the thermostat in the back of the new heating system. I left a loop down here at the bottom, a big loop. So if this ever broke, I'd have some slack that I can pull. And then the same thing over here. I left a big loop in the floor. So if this wire ever broke, I could pull more up the wall. Just thinking ahead. You never know with tenants, you know what I mean? And now, while the floor is open, I'm gonna take this here pesticides and I'm gonna blast everything I can reach. I'm gonna blast everything I can reach. And then start screwing all of this back down. All right, we got undercutting done. Thermostat wire run. Everything is screwed. Went around and found all the squeaks. Screwed it all down. Any patches, screwed it all down. 3 coats of paint on the toe kick, so it's nice bright white now, not black. We have something nice to just butt right up to. All right, we've got the miter saw, jigsaw, and an angle finder. I think we're gonna start right here. I want to put, you can see there's 2 edges on this. So it's easier to floor with this stuff, with this bigger edge facing you, and then you floor this way. It's harder this way, but it's possible, it's just harder. So I want to use this small edge and jam it right up against the cabinets. And this little section right here, I'll have to work kind of backwards, so it will be slightly harder. But once all of this is filled in, then I can just work on the main run, and it will be a lot easier. Just snap, 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 and once I get like a couple of rows down, this will fly. All right, well, I like to get like 2 rows snapped together, so you have something to kneel on. And while you're kneeling on it, that rubber mat kind of sticks to the floor so that you can, I take, you know, a female and a male scrap piece, and then I'll put my knee on this half, click that in, and then tap this with a hammer to snap everything together. And then on the other side, use this one. All right, this vinyl core or composite core, this stuff is 100 times easier to install than the cement core. The cement core is a little less forgiving, and sometimes it's really hard to get the cement core to snap together, especially in hairy spots when you're trying to slide things in. And this is why I wanted to start over here, because I was able to pull the whole floor this way, get the couple of pieces cut, and then shift the whole floor back, and now we have perfect everywhere, and we're nice and tight. With the cement core, sometimes what I would have to do is take a knife and shave. See that lip? Little locking lip? Yeah, I would go across and I would shave like 80% of it off. You know, I'd do a little bit, skip a spot, do a little bit more, skip a spot, just so it wasn't as hard to click. But this stuff, I mean, you can bend it to get it into where you need to get it, and it clicks together really nice. Well, we're about halfway there. So this around the pipe, you know, I didn't want to unscrew all of this, drill a hole and put it on. So I kept the little piece in the back, and I put down some Quad Max and squished it down into place. So now that's going to dry and it will be solid, and then I'm going to get gray caulking and just caulk all of this so there's no gaps, so it's nice and tight after. But I can't believe how easy this floor is to put in. Like the cement-based stuff is easy as well, but it is a lot more challenging. You need a special blade. You need special blades for the jigsaw. You need special blades for the table saw. You need special blades for all of it. And it's definitely not as forgiving, and it definitely doesn't snap together as nice. Yeah, this is how easy this stuff is. It's crazy. As long as you have female, and that's the thing. Even going backwards the other way, it still wasn't bad, which is nice. But you just kind of lock it in place on a slight angle. And with the cement stuff, I go through a lot of smash blocks. Like after a while of beating on them, they just evaporate. I've been using the same block. It barely has any dents on it. Because you don't have to crack this stuff too hard. You just kind of tap, tap. Zip the seam. Done. On to the next. Dude. That is nice. It feels solid. It really does. What a difference, man. Look at that. Clean, baby. No splinters. That's freaking amazing. Look at that. Clean. Don't need caulking joint. Don't have to worry about the floor lifting. Beautiful. So I had a little bit, I had a few extra boards I put back in the original box, taped it up. So I have the SKU, all the information. I shoved that in the basement. I had one box left over. It's $50. So I'm gonna go return it and go grab the baseboard, the window trim, and some new thresholds. Because, yeah, look how grimy these are. Alright, so another $300 spent. Well, 250 because I got 50 back for the floor that I returned. So we're up to 850 bucks spent on this kitchen so far. And today was a long day. I'm pretty exhausted. So, and the baseboard job, the trim, baseboard, window trim, it's not just a quick, easy, slap it and nail it to the wall kind of job. And I'll show you when we get to it. Probably tomorrow or Saturday morning. It's a little more entailed than that. It's going to take a little bit of, you know, a little bit of jigging to get things nice. So I think for tonight, you know, I want to get something done. I think we're going to install these thresholds. So I'm going to figure out exactly how these go in. I'm probably going to have to strike a line, multi-tool the floor back a little bit, and then screw it all down and snap it in. So, yeah, I've never done these before, so let's see how it looks. Like it comes with everything you need for carpet or whatever. It's all in there. And they weren't cheap. And it's not an exact match. They didn't have an exact match. But this was the closest thing that they had in the store. And it's pretty close. It's pretty dang close. So it should be good enough. Alright, so this is the first time I've ever had to install one of these. So I screwed this one down on top of the flooring and clicked it in. But it just didn't feel right, you know, and I was afraid to bring it down too low, but I said, screw it. I did it right here just in case. I have extra panels. I could have snapped in an extra panel if I cut it too short or whatever. Yeah, dude, it's solid, man. It's solid. Like before, when you stepped on it, you could feel it like teetering. So I did this one. Once it snaps into place, if one part of the floor is higher than the other, it'll just snap down. Like it's so It's really cool. So yeah, I'm gonna scribe a pencil line, take this out, multi-tool the floor out, and then screw this directly. You can either screw this directly to the subfloor, or in the case over there, I just screwed it right on top of the carpet, and that was fine as well. It still clicked in nice and tight. God, I told you it was a long day. I feel like I just got home. It's already 6 o'clock. Well, those are in. It is what it is. We're making good progress this week. Those are snapped down tight, man. I had to beat them with a hammer to get them to click into place, but it really pushes down on the carpet and the floor, so no dirt's gonna get under there. And that looks a lot more premium than you know, those aluminum ones. All right, it's Friday. Figure we'll get a head start and see how far we can get tonight until I run out of steam. We're gonna start with the window sill, all the trim, make it beautiful again. All right, that's in. Sill, bullnose, filled all the nail holes. While that was drying, I scraped out all of the silicone that was in here, because nothing sticks to silicone. It's way too flexible, so paint always will crack. Plus, you know, paint doesn't stick to silicone, so yeah, it's garbage. I found it all over the place. People should not be using silicone in construction, period. I will argue that with anybody until you're blue in the face. There's no need to use silicone when you have Quad Max, oil base, paint sticks to it. It's just a much superior product. All right, so the baseboard, the old baseboard was 6 inches tall. So it's either go by, you know, get a 1x7, rip it all down, or get a 1x6 that's 5.5, so it's slightly shorter. So that means this piece and this piece I'm gonna have to pull off, rip a 1/2 inch off, multi-tool the lead piece that's behind it, and then put a piece of trim on it, and you'll never notice. So I got 5.5 plus a trim piece that goes on the top to run all the way around. And you can see, yeah, right here, I already ripped this piece, thicknessed it. That's gonna be for there. But I gotta multi-tool this lead piece a little bit, just kind of get that out of there. The other trim piece will cover. And then that one, I'm gonna pry that off, get rid of it. And then I have a piece right here that I already thicknessed, ripped down. 5.5. Yeah, see, that'll go there. I wanna try to keep it all the same height. So obviously everything over here is gonna be slammed on the floor. But then when we get to over here, we've got a bit of a problem to deal with here. So, you know, we're coming up onto this floor. So I had to, you can see I cut it with the best I could to kind of form to the floor. I found these angles, which both of these angles were different. So to find the angles, I took my angle finder. Yeah, here it is. So I took my angle finder, and then you find the angle, 127.8. So you take 180 degrees, you do this in your calculator, 180 minus 127.8, whatever that gives you, divided by 2, and it came out to 26 degrees for this miter. And then the other one was 21.1 degrees for this miter. So I'm actually gonna 26 degrees, 21.1 degrees. 21's close enough, 26, yeah, good. So problem number 2 is the old baseboard used to slide down behind this. This piece doesn't slide down behind, but it covers it by 1/8 of an inch. Beautiful. Perfection, right? Over here, I could slide this whole piece down there and still have a gap, which I do not want that. So I tack some shims onto the wall to just pad this out. And now that can go right on top of the shims to get us over the floor. And then when we put our trim piece that's right there, when we install that on the top, it's gonna cover this. And you'll never notice that this one is a little bit further out than this one. Yeah, that looks a lot more premium than what was there before. Before we just had a quarter round, and now we have this nice luxurious detail. All the gaps in the floor are covered, cut nice, boom. So now I think I'm gonna break out the finish paint. God, that sun is bright. I'm gonna blast a coat just on the window trim so that I can put the AC back in, because it's boiling up here, and then we'll continue with the rest of the base. All right, so everywhere in here, the baseboard is 5.5 high, and then a little trim piece on top. So over here, this is the only 2 places where there's behind that is lead, and then they put basically a veneer over it. And same thing here. And I really don't want to dig that out and cause major damage. So I kind of cut this piece, this veneer, you know, it's 5.5, and then I just multi-tooled the top part of it off. And then our trim piece will go right there. Beautiful. Done. All right, last piece. I ripped out the old veneer, threw it away, made this one nice and new, nice and fresh. The other one was kind of beat up. But here's our lead paint right here. That original piece. So I'm gonna just marked it where I need to cut it down so all the baseboard is the same height all the way around the kitchen. So I'm just gonna multi-tool that out of there. And then just tack this and the other piece of trim. And we're looking good. Well, it was a productive week. And I don't know if you guys remember what this place used to look like. I will insert video clip here.
Yo, get the speaker box loud, hitting that stuff till you hearing that sound.
Yeah, look at that. It's crazy when you see the before and after. Still not all the way there yet, but man, what a difference. This was $2,800 in here, and it looks beautiful. We've spent $850 out here so far, but it was mostly on this side of the room. Good productive week, man. We got the whole floor out, new floor in, all the baseboard. This wall is 2 coats. Baseboard 1 coat. I still need to stain block these walls. Still need to scrape and test this for lead because it's never been done. I want to do it just so I know. Without a doubt, I've scraped and tested every piece in the place. After I do that, I will have tested everything. I feel like it's worth doing. But I'm going to put the painting on pause for now, because that I can chip away at any time. Next weekend's a 3-day weekend. I want to use it wisely. So we're gonna start attacking this. We're gonna keep the carcass of the cabinet. We're gonna get rid of the sink, the countertop. Drawers and doors are all gonna get pitched. We're gonna hack the plumbing out and redo it. I'm thinking about stealing the power from this light and running it down. Put a switch, put a garbage disposal, update the plumbing. So it really depends on how much all of this costs. If this doesn't cost that much and it's not as bad as I think it's going to be, then I'll have a little bit more money to spend over here in this area. So from my experience, it's good to have the stove like this with nothing on either side of it, because tenants have a way of splattering shit all over everything and destroying it. So I figure if there's nothing around it, there's nothing to get splattered, and they can get all the way around it to clean it. And I'm going to put felt pads on the bottom of the feet of the new stove so it slides out nice and easy. I want no excuses not to pull the stove out and clean. But the same token, you know, it would be nice to have maybe a small cabinet with a countertop next to the stove to put things while you're cooking, you know, because there's nowhere to put anything. And then I don't know if we do like a custom shelf, a nice custom like floating shelf or something above the stove, and then try to tile a backsplash in between the shelf and the back of the stove. I don't know. I'm still thinking about this. Still thinking about it. But we're not there yet anyways. This is the next project right here. We got to get this done. So I'm gonna cap the video here, and yeah, this is next, and this will be fun. I kind of enjoy stuff like this. Trying to save something and do some cool carpentry and just make it look brand new. So that's the goal. So keep an eye out. That should be coming very shortly. Make sure you subscribe, give me a thumbs up. See you later.
Yo, keep the speaker box loud, hitting that stuff till you hearing that sound.